everyone. Hello, my dear BSed English students. Today, another day of learning where we will have a review of the International Phonetic Alphabet. So this is in relation to the face discussion that I had given you last meeting. And to review you, let us have the following questions. What is the International Phonetic Alphabet? The International Phonetic Alphabet is an academic standard created by the International Phonetic Association. It is a phonetic notation system. When you say system, it is following a certain process that uses a set of symbols to represent each distinct sound that exists in human spoken language. It means that all capable of speaking the language must have a definite way of recording how it should be written as well as its pronunciation. The system was created in 1886 and was updated in 2005, but the latest version that I will give you is updated 2020. So later on, I will be showing you. The IPA is based on the Latin alphabet but includes some non-Latin characters as well. A diacritical mark, or called as diacritical point or diacritical signis or sign, is a glyph added to a letter or basic glyph. So there's a certain letter given and there are symbols associated with it. The best example for our Filipino alphabet is the use of the nye or the tilde. As you can notice, if you had written the letter N or the small letter N, the big N, there's an arc above the letter to indicate that it is pronounced as nye, not the N sound. So therefore, it is called as a diacritical mark. And I also showed you last time examples of the diacritical marks, and we have 12 examples or 12 types of diacritical marks, but then don't worry, these diacritical marks are applicable in international context. So it means if you can speak French, Italian, or any other languages such as Arabic and so on, you need to know or identify how to pronounce or use such diacritical marks for you to have the correct pronunciation. But in our Filipino alphabet, we only have the nye. That's why I will not give further emphasis on such, since this alphabet, the International Phonetic Alphabet, is really broad in nature and you are just having the introduction to linguistics. Therefore, I will only show you the basics. Let's move forward as we define diacritical marks and prosody. Diacritical marks are added above, under, or within a letter. They sometimes can be placed in between two letters. That's the best example I can give, the nye, which I mentioned a while ago. And the prosody is the representation of the rhythm, stress, and intonation of speech. The same discussion that I gave you about prosody is the stress and unstressed syllable. We have the lax and the tense vowels, as well as the rising, falling, and the rising, falling intonation. Those variation or the rhythm or the way how it is produced or pronounced is called a prosody. What is the International Phonetic Association? The International Phonetic Association was founded in 1886 and is the oldest organization for phoneticians. The association's mission is to promote the scientific study of phonetics. So since they are the ones studying sounds, they want it to be scientific one. That's the mission they have in 1886. And as they progress, there are lots of additional letters and additional sounds, additional symbols given or produced from 1886 to 2020, several important dates in IPA history were recently commemorated. And let's have a short glimpse of IPA's history. The essential function of the IPA is to provide a standard for labeling these phonemes so that linguists can discuss any sound without ambiguity. Because, as mentioned a while ago, the International Phonetic Alphabet is used by all human spoken language. So it means speakers from all over the world have their system of speaking and writing. And with the use of IPA, it will serve as a guide on how these sounds can be represented in graph or in charts. And also, if unfamiliar pronunciation or words such as those written in French, Italian, as well as what else? The Oriental languages and the Arabian ones can still be pronounced correctly by those non-native speakers of the language with the use of IPA. So they can describe and produce these sounds without ambiguity or difficulty. So in 1886, a group of French and British language teachers teamed up to create a new organization for linguists. The teachers were headed by the French linguist named Paul Passy. The International Phonetic Association was formed in 1897, and in French it was E Association Phonétique Internationale. IPA linguists provide students with a greater understanding of the language by accurately and uniquely representing the sounds of oral speech. And the IPA is used by lexicographers, foreign language students, teachers, linguists, speech language pathologists, singers, actors, constructed language creators, and translators. So commonly, they are the people who are really engaged with speaking. Therefore, these people need to enhance themselves and be accurate whenever they are pronouncing such, since these are part of their job. So lexicographers are looking for the transcription of writing, right? And then speech pathologists are those who treat or diagnose people with speech difficulties. And those translators are those people who transcribe and change the intended language into another one. So yes, basically they are the ones who had been using the IPA most frequently. How many international alphabets do we have? So we have, yes, the IPA, but there are lots. But the most common is the International Phonetic Alphabet. It is not the only one, actually. So other alphabets include the American Phonetic Notation, also known as North American Phonetic Alphabet, the NAPA, the one I had mentioned before. That's why I always find it difficult to find videos, since others or other sounds are pronounced using the different IPA. So the most common, the IPA, but there are lots actually. The NAPA, the American Phonetic Alphabet, or the American Phonetic Alphabet Americanist, the APA, the Canadian Aboriginal Syllabics Alphabet, the CASA, the Swahili Phonetic Alphabet, the SWA, and the Thai Phonetic Alphabet, the TPA. Each international alphabet has its own symbols and phonemes to represent the sounds of oral language. So most commonly on videos, we have North American Phonetic Alphabet. That's why you must know first which notation are you using. So the IPA linguistics is based on Latin, as I mentioned earlier, in order to correspond to the international standard. This IPA is also the standard that the United Nations uses to represent sounds in all languages that use a writing system. So that's why we have more than 100, or should we say 200 countries that were members of the United Nations. Therefore, I'm not sure actually. So with that, IPA is really needed and standardized for have the representation of sounds of all the languages that can be used as well in writing. So here's the latest version of the IPA, revised 2020. As I have introduced you before, I had shown you the 2005 edition, 2008 edition, 2010, 2013, 2015, and the last meeting I have shown you is the illustration of the 2018 edition. And this one, and in our review, we have the 2020 edition. So here, we have the consonant pulmonic chart, the consonant non-pulmonic chart, the other symbols, the diacritics shown, and the vowel chart, the suprasegmentals, and the tone and word accents. So yes, there are recent updates and development from the beginning up to 2020. Since words sounds are evolving, there are new sounds being developed and new symbols being created, and for us to be updated on the evolving language, we are also updating or revising the International Phonetic Alphabet. Yes, the one that I have shown on you last meeting. And to continue, I also gave you the IPA chart. But don't worry, class. The one that you have seen on the 2020 version is the more complicated one. But the one that I'm showing right here or on our discussion is the basic one, since you are just dealing with the introduction to linguistics. I had given the illustration of this one divided into colors. So this is the sample, the diacritical mark showing that the sound should be produced longer. So these are the long sounds. And without this diacritics, it means you have to pronounce in short version. So here, how is it divided? We have the vowels. The vowels are surrounded by yellow. These are all vowels. Then we have the consonants. These are surrounded by red. We have diphthongs surrounded by orange, but still diphthongs can be joined in the classification of vowels as well. So we have 44 sounds, 24 consonants, and 20 vowels. 12 of which are the vowels, the simple vowels, the pure vowels, and the diphthongs. We have 8. Now, let's dig deeper. The blue colored boxes are the long vowels. Then the short sounds are in purple boxes. We also have diphthongs. And we have voice consonants, those with restriction, if I'm not mistaken, or that's the voice. There's a vibration rather. So when you have the voice consonants, when you pronounce the sound, there's a certain vibration. And when we have the unvoiced, these are the voiceless, there's no vibration. So, surrounded by this color. I will be giving class detailed discussion of this on my next discussion or video lecture with the transcription activity. So with that, I will be cutting this discussion in this part and see you on my next upload. So with that, thank you so much for listening, and hopefully you have reviewed yourselves with the vowel chart as well as the consonant chart and the entire International Phonetic Alphabet chart. But don't worry, this one is not part of your test in midterms. This one only, the one that I'm projecting in colors. So with that, thank you so much for listening.